Hello guys, welcome back. We're here with another lecture. In this one, we're gonna talk about raw string. The first thing we should ask is, C# already has several ways for formatting string literals. Why do we need another way like raw string to format string literals? All string literals that we've discussed so far require some form of escaping when the contents include special characters, and all approaches to forming these literals require manual escaping by the programmer. This can sometimes be highly annoying. Okay, in the previous lecture we mentioned that to fix this issue we need to use a verbatim string by prefixing the string with an @ character. However, even in verbatim literals, double quotations still need to be escaped by another double quotation, and it makes the string difficult to read. The second issue that verbatim strings and others have is that their indentations look messy in multi-line strings. For example, suppose we want to store this data in a string variable. Actually, as you can see, writing this data as a string variable is pretty horrible. Even though verbatim string literals work slightly better here, but frankly this approach is still not ideal. Now let's take a look at what happens when we display this data in the terminal. Okay, let's run the application. As you can see, it's messy. In order to avoid including any white space, we have to leave all the lines inside the verbatim string aligned to the left. Now, let's run the application again and see the result. As you can see, compared to the previous result, this is better. Alright, to overcome these kinds of problems, C# introduced raw string. A raw string literal is created by putting at least 3 double quotations at the beginning and end of the string. Any characters between these opening and closing quotations are included in the resulting string. If for any reason we need to add triple double quotations within the string literal, we can use quad double quotations to enclose the raw string literal. Similarly, for quad double quotations within the string literal, we can use 5 double quotations, and so on. By doing this, the triple and quad double quotations become part of the string. Note that, for a single line raw string, the opening and closing quotations must appear on the same line. On the other hand, if we want to create a multi-line raw string literal, we must place the opening and closing double quotations on separate lines. If we do not follow this convention, we may encounter an error, as the compiler will not recognize the string as a raw string literal. One of the benefits of using raw string is that we don't need to escape any character, including double quotations. This makes it easier to write and read code. But what about the indentation problem? How does it solve that? When using raw string, there are rules that the compiler follows to interpret white spaces. First, any white spaces that immediately follow the opening double quotations on the same line are ignored. Second, any white spaces to the left of the closing double quotations will be removed from the resulting string. And finally, each line of the string must start with the same amount of white space or more than the closing double quotations. Otherwise, we may encounter an error. Alright, let's illustrate these rules by displaying this data in the terminal. As we mentioned before, the indentation of a raw string literal is defined by the start of the closing quotations, so none of the lines should be outdented from the closing double quotation. For example, if we place the ending curly brace or any of these lines to the left of the closing double quotations, a syntax error will be generated. Okay, let's refocus on the question. How exactly does a raw string solve the indentation problem? To find out, let's run the application to see the result. As you can see, the compiler counts the number of spaces from the start of this line to the closing double quotations and removes exactly that amount of white space from the beginning of each line in the string. For instance, in this example, we have 14 white spaces before the closing quotations, so the compiler removes 14 white spaces from the beginning of each line in the string. As a result, lines 8 and 9 have 2 white spaces remaining, while lines 7 and 10 have 1 white space remaining. Now, if we remove 6 white spaces, 6 indentations will be added to each line. To confirm that, let's run the application again. As you can see, 6 indentations are added to each line. This shows how we can set string literal indentations using raw strings. Alright, now let's discuss raw string interpolation. To indicate a string literal as a raw string interpolation, we simply need to prefix it with a dollar symbol before the opening double quotation marks. But if we want to include a variable within this data, an error occurs because the string already contains curly braces. In such cases, we use two dollar symbols, which indicate that we need two sets of curly braces for the interpolation. By doing this, the single set of curly braces is interpreted as part of the string literal. Okay, save the file and run the application to see what happens. As you can see, the name is displayed in the terminal. In summary, raw string literals and interpolation improve the readability and simplify the management of strings. They provide a flexible solution for working with strings. Okay, done. See you in the next lecture.